then the fact that people believe Yamamoto was a fraud is lying.
Yeah, bro, like y'all forget, bro, he was fighting Yuha, bro. He was fighting one of the strongest enemies, like, at that time, bro. Like, back in the day, it was like a few seasons back, he was fighting Aizen, bro, and Aizen was like actually scared because like his fire was so potent, bro. Like, don't underestimate him,
about
bro.
this in a previous video because I really wanted to talk about it. Anyways, when Yamamoto said there's no greater security than me,
this was cool. Yo, what's up, G fam? Welcome back to a new video. Today we're gonna react to some anime. We're gonna react to, before we start, how was y'all day today? I hope y'all day was good. And now we're gonna react. We're reacting to the biggest frauds ever in anime. So let's see.
you may often find someone calling a certain character or person a fraud. But what do people mean when they say this? Webster says a fraud is a person who is not what he or she pretends to be, or in other words, an imposter or a pretender. Now, in the right context, the word fraud is appropriate to use, but in many cases, the word is misused greatly. The word has been ran into the ground so much that it has lost a lot of its original meaning. Another example of this happening is the term crash out, where people have spammed it so much that the word is meaningless. In anime, cartoons, sports, movies, comics, etc., people are quick to call someone a fraud after losing a fight or a game, when it is simply not justified. And you know, since I've been really negative in some of my recent videos, I wanted to switch it up a bit and take some time to dispel some of the fraud narratives around certain characters. So it's all positivity, man, no slander today, okay guys? The first example I want to bring up is the admirals from One Piece, as they feel like some of the most polarizing characters in the series. These guys are said to be the strongest fighters of the Marines and are shown to be some of the strongest characters in the entire series. However, fraud allegations are consistently attached to these guys' names, but quite frankly, I don't believe these allegations have much, if any, validity to them, because the admirals have shown that their titles aren't capped. Well, besides those times where you get your face broken in by a 70-year-old man who can't even use hockey and has Ebola. My bad, no slander, no slander. A lot of the times we see the admirals fight, they do show that they can hang with their opponents fairly easily. Like when Kizaru clashed with Rayleigh, he was keeping up with them without breaking too much of a sweat. And plus, this is Silver's Rayleigh we're talking about, the right?
But I mean, actually, it isn't Prime really. Prime really would have beaten his ass, so yeah.
Hand to the Pirate King. Let's not downplay him like he's some fodder bum. Although he's old, we still have seen older characters putting in work. Even then, Rayleigh was low-key huffing and puffing during their skirmish, so who knows if this man even had enough stamina to keep fighting. A similar thought process can be applied to the Akainu and Whitebeard fight. It's not like Akainu died or got knocked out. He got back up and went back to work. Shoot, I'm not even saying that Whitebeard wasn't stronger than Akainu, but let's not act like these guys weren't trading blows throughout their fight. Another guy who be getting a lot of flack is Green Bull, because he ran from Wano due to who shan't be names hot, but people failed to mention that Green Bull was basically forced to run away from Wano because he was the only major hitter from the Marines there. What y'all want him to do? Engage with one of the emperors of the sea? You don't just go attacking Yonkos willy-nilly. They have too much influence, especially Shanks. He would have gotten jumped and people would still call him a fraud. It's best to just run away and spin back another day. And y'all must have known that I was bringing this guy up, the greatest and strongest swordsman in the world, Mihawk. Now, whether you think this guy or Shanks is stronger really doesn't matter one bit in terms of the fraud allegations. The allegations only seem to be present because Mihawk has famously done nothing significant outside of the East Blue. This notion has caused many fans to become brain dead anytime this man pops up on screen. First off, let's get this straight. Mihawk does this pirate stuff for fun, as he's already proven himself to be the strongest swordsman. So if he don't want to fight, he's not gonna fight. Oh, but Mihawk don't want to fight Emperor Cruz, so he's fraud. I don't know why, but some people are really obsessed with the top tier solo squad and Yonko crews like they are not some of the strongest forces. Someone not willing to fight against the strongest armies by themselves does not make them a fraud. They're just not crazy. You don't gotta be some smoke demon to prove that you're a strong character or that you're worthy of your title. And if I really wanted to be boring, it's clear that Oda wants to hide a lot of these characters' max strength until we get to the final arc. So don't expect someone like Akainu to go all out against some randoms. And as for the painted blade, we all know that's a joke. They just haven't explained how you get a black blade and why it's so impressive. So for now, that meme will live on. I'm gonna give it a buck. I don't even want to talk about Dragon. This is what we've seen him do in the series.
I mean,
but it's not just One Piece that has a lot of false fraud allegations. I mean,
they say Dragon has like wind abilities. I don't know if that's true, but like he's floating and stuff, and
Allegations
always
are
wind
rampant
around
in
him,
other series. There are people that unironically think that characters like Gojo, Yamamoto, and Rengoku are candidates for the biggest fraud in anime history. This post is telling me that someone out there on God's green earth believes that Yamamoto is in the same class as Buggy the Clown when it comes to being fraudulent. Now I know it's probably unfair to bring up one post and paint it as widespread opinion, but from my personal experience, I've seen enough people that actually think Yamamoto and Gojo are frauds for me to call it out. First off, why is Rengoku even here?
Yeah, what did Rengoku do? Yeah.
Upper Moon, Akaza is given the works to basically every Hashira at this point in the story except Gyome. Anyone with upper rank 3 or higher will most likely need to get jumped. This man Rengoku didn't even have a mark. What did people expect him to do? Losing to a stronger opponent does not make you a fraud. Then the fact that people believe Yamamoto was a fraud is lying.
Yeah, bro, like y'all forget, bro, he was fighting Yuha, bro. He was fighting one of the strongest enemies like at that time, bro. Like back in the day, it was like a few seasons back, he was fighting Aizen, bro, and Aizen was like actually scared because like his fire was so potent, bro. Like, don't underestimate him,
about
bro.
this in a previous video because I really wanted to talk about it.
This
Anyways,
was
when
cool
Yamamoto
too.
said there's no greater security than me,
This was cool. This was cool, bro. This was so cool when I first watched that, bro.
he wasn't necessarily joking or really lying. Besides Squad Zero, who wouldn't even interfere with anything outside of the Soul King Palace, Yamamoto was the strongest security for the Soul Society at that moment. Plus, these guys weren't doing nothing to Yamamoto. What does he need security for? And let's start setting a certain record straight. The whole point of Yamamoto being beaten by Yu-Hawk wasn't to show that he's weak or anything. It was to show that over the years, he became a stubborn old man. Yamamoto was never the smartest guy in the Soul Society or ever really open to new ideas for real. Man's never even got his arm healed. So him getting duped by Yu-Hawk because of the traits he's already shown throughout the series does not make him a pretender of some sort. His strength is still there. In fact, he probably would have defeated this version of Yu-Hawk if he had his Bankai. The clone version of Yu-Hawk, aka Roy Lloyd, was said by the creator himself to have about 70 to 80% of his strength. And we know that this is probably true because he boxed up Kenpachi with just his hands. And when Yamamoto popped his Bankai versus this guy, he was showing all of his moves to try to demoralize Yu-Hawk. This fight was not like Cell versus Goku during the Cell games. It was a beatdown. Yamamoto was trying to make a statement. So if Yamamoto folded 70% of Yu-Hawk with ease, he probably could beat him with the extra 30%. If you want an analogy, if I get smoked in the 200-meter race by like 10 seconds and I say, hey, oh, wait, I ain't have my spikes on, so I was only going about like 75%. What the fuck is the extra 30% gonna do? I get smoked by 5 seconds instead, and I've gone into why Gojo isn't a fraud multiple times. Gonna spoil the manga a bit, so skip here to avoid that. Let's read this panel real quick. The strongest sorcerer in history versus the strongest sorcerer of today. Both these dudes claim to be the strongest, so they're seeing who can really own the title. So fighting someone who is dubbed the strongest sorcerer in history for 10 plus chapters and almost winning does not make you fraudulent. People act like Gojo said he'd win and start getting his tail whipped or something when the fight looked like it could have gone either way, and almost dying because someone tried to
but I mean, he did say he would win, bro, so I mean, it's kinda
sneak you does not make you a fraud. If you don't like Gojo, just say that and keep it pushing. Like I said previously, to be a fraud, you have to be deceiving others with an idea that portrays you as something that you are not. This definition isn't very applicable to every character under the sun. To have this definition apply to a character better, you'd have to be getting your butt whipped in a lot of fights you get into and have a name that suggests that you are
invincible.
So it's all positivity, man. No slander today, okay, guys?
Well, so much for that. Mark is a really special case. He's not like Takamichi who gets beaten up because he's a bum of a character and a bum of a delinquent, but he gets beaten up just enough for me to be like, dang, again? The genre Invincible as a series is going for, it's a more realistic superhero experience for a teenager, so I can't expect him to just win every fight. But the fact still remains that he's gotten beaten up by a lot of people who realistically shouldn't be beating someone up named Invincible. Were there no other names available? Was something like Ultraman taken already? Let's be real. Invincible as a superhero name is extremely misleading considering the fact that I see him with a bloody nose in half of his fights. Imagine seeing the Flash, the fastest man alive, not being able to react to normal speed punches. Oh shoot. I see other characters lose one fight.
They did Barry so dirty, bro. Oh, Barry. Oh, Barry.
And get dubbed the fraud afterwards. Some of those allegations need to be directed towards Mark, especially in some parts of season 1 and 2. And it's not even the fact that he lost to a character like Battle Beast. There's no shame in that. Battle Beast is like the strongest in the verse, and he went against a fairly green Invincible. But zombie robots? That's who's beating you up? Every other episode feels like some random new fighter is beating him up. And before I move on to more slander, if you're enjoying the video and you're new, you might as well subscribe. While I'm on a roll talking about frauds, I might as well bring up the Illuminati.
Hey, yo.
No, I'm talking about the Marvel
Oh,
Illuminati,
okay.
more specifically, the one from the MCU. This might be the most useless group of people I've ever seen in my life. They should be one of the most powerful groups in the entire universe, considering you have Black Bolt and Captain Marvel on
Captain Marvel? Whoa!
the same team.
Is she the new Captain Marvel?
But Reed Richards, one of the smartest people in the Marvel universe, somehow gave away their biggest advantage with Black Bolt by revealing his powers. And then Black Bolt murks himself? I shouldn't even have to explain why this sequence of events is stupid. Like, this is past plot armor. This might just be bad writing. Then expecting Mr. Fantastic to be able to do something against a determined Scarlet Witch is just foolish. To be honest, there's no need to bring up Captain Carter. She's irrelevant. But the real nail in the coffin for it,
Bro, what are these nobodies, bro? Like, Captain Carter. What is that, bro?
this fraudulent group is Captain Marvel dying to a statue. Not some crazy Hexorn Infinity Stone blast. A statue and some assistance from Wanda killed one of the strongest beings in the universe. I'm being dead serious right now. How much force did she put on this statue to just instantly murk Captain Marvel out of all people? These are textbook examples of frauds.
Bro, Captain Marvel from the other one, the blonde one? What's that? Wouldn't have happened to her, bro.
These guys deceived everyone into thinking that they were actually capable and competent enough to stop the strong threats, but they couldn't even neutralize Scarlet Witch when they clearly had the advantage. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention Professor X. That's how pathetic he was in the movie. Isn't he supposed to be one of the strongest telepaths in Marvel? He just gets his neck snapped in the mindscape and just rolls over. I guess, man. I guess. There are also characters whose whole gimmick is them being a fraud.
Oh yeah,
is a great case of this.
Yeah,
thinking that he defeated Cell when we know dang well what happened when he tried to fight him. That's the whole joke with him. He's very weak compared to the villains in Dragon Ball, but he somehow gets the credit for winning. Fraudulent,
Indeed.
but it is funny. And unlike some characters, Hercule's able to box up the average Joe. A character like
True.
King is just a regular dude that just skates by because of his luck. This man is an S-class hero, but is incapable of taking down any villain with powers. He don't even know how he got this far. And I'm not even joking. King is quite literally an aura man. Most of the villains he comes across don't attack
that's cool though. That's aura.
him because they get scared of his mere presence and King Engine, which by the way, it's just his heart thumping really loud. So he has fake aura too. I can't even say or tell if it's a gag anymore. King might just have luck manipulation at this point. And who can forget our favorite clown,
Buggy
the Clown, who really went from rags to riches. He went from East Blue Pirate to Warlord to Emperor of the Sea.
Yeah, it's money, bro.
Buggy seems like a fraud. Well, actually, it's not seems. He is a fraud. But I don't think his Emperor status is the craziest thing in the world. Let me explain real quick. Considering the fact that he was on Roger's crew and how the world government pays special attention to anyone with association to that crew, it makes a bit of sense why that play a part into his status as a Yonko. Influence plays a big part in what the world government deems as an emperor. You know who else is a fraud? This guy, the guy from Spy Kids. Not sure if y'all watched this movie when y'all were younger, but this bum tricked me as a child into thinking he was really like that. He came in all courageous and heroic and even gave everyone hope that they'd win. Then he got all 99 of his lives taken away in an instant. He's a fraud. I'm actually getting angry just thinking about it. Again, more spoilers for JJK, so skip here to avoid them again. But I'd really be doing myself a disservice if I didn't mention this guy. Sukuna, while he was in Megumi's body, had short-lived but
Sukuna in Megumi's body? Oh, okay.
severe fraud allegations. The case was being built and he was almost the biggest deceiver of all of new gen manga. If you guys were reading the manga last year around this same time, you know that for like 3 chapters straight, Gojo was putting the pause on this guy Sukuna. I'm talking red back shots wrapping around the building, attempting to 3v1 Gojo and still being on the ropes at times, hollow purple nukes, yelling for Maharaga. Crody even tried throwing fire extinguishers as a means to distract Gojo, and to top it all off, getting black flash so hard that all 4 of your eyes widened out. The memes were actually out of control. Trust me, if it was the other way around, I'd be making this exact segment about Gojo. But we all know how everything ended up. So Kuna ended up clearing the fraud allegations completely. And finally, I wanted to briefly mention Father from Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood. Although I haven't seen this, so yeah, I feel like he had everything going his way to win. He had all the strength and got boxed up by Edward, a teenager. The alchemy we saw him do was out of this world, so him losing was kind of crazy. But the whole point of his character is Father being smart enough to craft this entire plan to get this strong, but too dumb to understand certain aspects of humans to actually succeed. But that's kind of boring to say, so I'm gonna just say he's a fraud. There are way more characters that have a stronger case to be considered frauds, but I just
Masamune was not a fraud. He was not a fraud, bro.
to call out some
he
of
was
the
kind of
nonsense
strong
seen in a lot of discourse nowadays, which seems to be a lot more black and white than it should be. The context and circumstance matter a lot in how much of a fraud a character is, which is something many don't consider. Hope y'all enjoyed the video, and
we're at the end of the video. Tell me who y'all favorite, like who do y'all think are frauds in anime? Yeah, I thought the Dragon Ball guy and King was a good example of a fraud. Who is a fraud? Can't think of any. But yeah, if you enjoyed the video, thank you for watching. I hope y'all day is going good, and may God bless y'all. Amen. And I'll see y'all to the next video. Later.